This is a WWN Publishing Group recording. Copyright 2016, all rights reserved. This is an abridged version of Killmore by Martha Sweeney to make the story appropriate for all listeners. If you want to read the complete story, you can find the ebook or paperback online. Links are provided in the description below. Killmore, Book 1 of the 2-book series. Read to you by the author.
Chapter 25, Laurie. So, Trudy asks as soon as I answer the phone. So what? I return. Girl, don't play dumb with me. How the hell did the date go last night? Did he stay the night, or did you go back to his place? Trudy states. No, I return. Why not? He's hot, Trudy cries. I'm not talking about this with you, I say. Why not? Because you've already had too much fun with this whole thing, I state. If I had the chance to have a love like I did with Mike again, I wouldn't hesitate to have it, Trudy comments. I sigh, but don't say anything. So, how was the date? She presses. It was good, I sigh. Good? She repeats. Yeah, good. Well, you definitely didn't get laid, she huffs. Where the hell are you? I check. I'm in the office with the door closed. Don't worry, no one can hear me, she assures. Details. I want details. Why? I reply, avoiding the topic. Because, since I'm not getting any action other than from a battery-operated boyfriend, I'm living through you and your odd sexual encounters, Trudy shares. That's sick, I laugh. Are you a closet bisexual? No, but I'm seriously considering it, though, with the lack of action I'm getting, she giggles. I swear, there's a big target on my back that says, don't date a widow, as if it's bad luck on the next guy or something. Well, there aren't that many men in our age bracket who live in town except for some of the tourists, I remind. Maybe you should move back to the reserve. Not funny, Trudy scolds. And stop trying to change the subject. Who, me? I feign at her accusation. Where did he take you? What did you do? She investigates. He took me to Charlie's, I present. Wow, he must have done his homework to take you there, Trudy returns. Every woman in town hopes to be taken there for special occasions. Charlie's is a restaurant that is owned and operated by the Willow River Country Club, where all the high-profile clients and others with money spend a lot of their time when visiting. The club owns the golf course, Charlie's restaurant, and half of the marina aside from a few other small shops. It was founded by the Wellis family, who originally established the town generations ago. None of the family members live in town, but they do come in once or twice a year, depending on which clients will be staying at their very private and very exclusive resort. Charlie's serves high-quality foods, like my cafe, but at a much higher cost that most people can't afford on a daily basis when visiting the town, except those with an exorbitant amount of money. Yeah, I sigh. So, what else? We went for a walk along the boards and ended up having a drink or two at Boulder until it started to rain, I continue. Then what happened? Did he kiss you? She searches. We waited out the rain for a few minutes in the truck and then realized it was pointless. So he drove me home and said goodnight, I state. Did he kiss you? She repeats. On the cheek, I share. Are you shitting me? No, I reply. What? What the hell was that? She says in shock. He was probably scared to get his ass beat if he tried too much. I laugh. Seriously? She says. I would have thought he would have had more balls than that. Did you want him to kiss you? What? Oh my god, you're crazy, I snap. Would you go on another date with him if he asked? She investigates. I don't know, maybe, I return after a few seconds, knowing that I need to lead people on about our fake relationship. You paused, Trudy accuses. That means you do. I didn't pause, I counter. Yes, you did. You paused before answering the question, she states. Whatever, I huff. Suddenly, the house system is indicating that someone is outside. I check the monitor on the iPad and notice a white van in the driveway. Trudy is talking in my ear as I fixate on the person who exits the vehicle and opens the sliding door, grabbing something large. Earth to Laurie, Trudy's voice calls. Huh? What? What's going on? Are you okay? She asks with concern. Yeah, I say, sounding a little breathy. There's someone here. What do you mean there's someone there? Is it Aiden? She inquires. I don't think so. Hold on, I instruct, shifting the phone between my shoulder and ear, walking toward the front door with the iPad in hand. The doorbell rings when I'm a few feet away. My eyes bounce between the iPad and looking out the peephole a few times. Hold on, Trudy. I place the phone down on the table with the iPad. Hello, Mrs. Parker greets. I have a delivery for you, sweetheart. What? I gasp, taking the large pot of lavender from her. I didn't order. You didn't, but a handsome young man did. If I'm not mistaken, word around town is that he's your ex-husband, she answers. Ex-boyfriend, I correct. We were never married. That explains a lot about you, sweetie, she returns. He's the one who broke your heart, huh? I stare at her in shock, dumbfounded by what's happening and that the townspeople are talking about me. He seems so nice. What happened between you two, if you don't mind me asking, she pries. He called things off. He, was military, I say, fumbling with my words. Oh, she sighs. So I take it he broke things off so you wouldn't get the call. That's a hard decision for any man to make. I hope you give him another chance. He did serve, and only God knows what those boys deal with when they're sent overseas. Anywho, have a great day, sweetie. Don't be shy and stop by any time, she continues as she heads to her van. Oh, what about... He took care of the tip too, sweetie, she answers, cutting me off. Don't worry about it. Have a lovely day, and give the boy a chance, will ya? I stand in the foyer with my door practically wide open, holding the lavender in my arms despite the fact that it's starting to get a little heavy. My mind races through everything that just transpired. Mabel whimpers and my attention is drawn to the table. Shit, Trudy, sorry, I apologize, after shifting the plant into one arm, picking the phone up with the other, and using my foot to close the door. I wedge the phone between my ear and shoulder again, and then lock the door and grab the iPad. What the hell was that all about? She searches. I heard a few words on occasion, but not enough to make it out. It was nothing, I lie. Laurie Breitsprecher, don't you lie to me, Trudy scolds. I let out a heavy sigh. Mrs. Parker was just making a delivery. Mrs. Parker? As in Parker Florists? Trudy inquires. Yep. Did Cody send you another bouquet again? No, I sigh, grateful that he didn't. Oh my God! Oh my God! They're from Aiden. Aiden sent you flowers. What did he send you? Trudy asks, with her voice increasing at least 2 octaves. She continues talking, but it's too hard to decipher her words. Trudy. Trudy. Trudy! I call. What? He sent a large pot of lavender, I inform. Lavender? Trudy repeats. Yep, I confirm. She says. I wonder why lavender. Don't know, I state. Do they have significant meaning? She checks. Not that I'm aware of, I reply. Do you have any at the house? Actually, no, I answer, which is odd. They grow great and I get a lot of use out of them. Trudy hums. Well, I should let you go. You need to call him and thank him for the flowers. What? Why? I whine. Laurie, the man bought you dinner, was a perfect gentleman last night, not even trying to kiss you other than on the cheek, and then sends a bouquet of non-traditional flowers for spirit's sake. The man clearly loves you and has put thought into what he's doing, she states, practically defending his actions. You're such a bitch, I return. You completely set me up, didn't you? What? You did, I press. He convinced you to help me, didn't he? You are my friend, Trudy announces. I only would do things that I would, as your friend, think would make you happy. I hate you, I say coolly. You sounded way too calm when you said that, she presents. Did I? I return sarcastically. I still love you when you're mad at me. You'll thank me for it one day. Probably not until the two of you are married and have the first kid, Trudy describes. No, I object. Call the man, she directs. Fine, I huff. Love you, bye. I don't reply and hang up the phone. My eyes read over the card again. If flowers could kiss, I'd send you millions to make up for every day we were apart. I've never stopped loving you. XOXO Aiden. It takes me about 5 minutes of standing in my kitchen with the flowers on the countertop to do anything other than just stare at the lavender in surprise. The flowers smell divine and my brain starts plotting the different things I could use them for. Without thinking, I head into the greenhouse and depot them, taking them apart by the roots to make 3 smaller bunches. The first bunch I plant in a longer wooden planter in the back patio area, giving them plenty of room to grow and spread out. The second I keep in the greenhouse, and the third I transfer to a smaller pot and take it back inside the house. 2 seconds later, I head back to the greenhouse and repot the one for the house into 2 containers rather than 1, placing the first in the kitchen and the second up in my bedroom on the dresser that is to the left of the large skylight window that drapes down the angle of the roof and curves into a rectangular window that ends at the floor which overlooks the lake. The next day, I get a call from Aiden, wanting to talk more about the next steps of our arrangement. He suggests coming to my house, which I vehemently object to several times at first. I'm not comfortable with anyone I don't know entering my house. I'm not even comfortable letting people who I do know in. Cody is a prime example of that. As he continues to try to convince me to allow him to just pop over, as if we've had more than one date and everyone knows that we're officially dating, I get into the truck with the dogs and head over to his place. I know that he'll need access to my place to spy on Quentin, but I'm just not ready for any of that yet. I'm not sure I'll ever be ready. "Hey, Paul," I greet as I pull into their driveway, lowering my window. "Paul? Paul who?" Aiden checks through the headset that is lodged in my ear. "She's here," Paul yells as I park the truck. The dogs and I get out. "What are you doing here?" Aiden asks, rushing to meet me before I get the truck door closed. "You wanted to talk? So here I am," I announce. "I told you that we need to," Aiden huffs. "Fuck, never mind." He moves close, pausing as if to see if his proximity is overstepping bounds. My eyes narrow in defense, but then I realize that he can't see them behind my sunglasses. "How are you doing?" Paul asks, pulling some of the tension away from Aiden and me. "Good," I return. Aiden doesn't move other than to look over his shoulder to Paul and then back to me. "Hey," he greets in a low, gruff tone. "I'll see you both inside," Paul mentions as he heads back up the steps. There's a natural, relaxed feel I get from Paul. Even though he's a Fed, there's something about him, his demeanor, that seems very genuine and almost father-like. I need to keep myself in check as I find out if this is just a part of his overall personality, or if he's just doing a really good job acting like a sweet older man without any dark secrets. "You're standing a little close," I inform Aiden. "Am I?" he asks, feigning awareness. "Yes," I verify. "Back off." "No," Aiden challenges confidently. "Did you get my gift?" "The flowers?" I ask. "You did get them," he says proudly. "Yes," I reply. "I noticed you didn't have any," he comments. "How would you know that?" I ask. "The first day Paul and I met you, remember?" Aiden reminds. "You were showing us around the house. We got to see the back patio and part of the greenhouse." "Don't remind me," I return, trying to tease, but it sounds a little mean. "Yeah," he huffs nervously. "How did you know I didn't have lavender?" "I didn't smell them," Aiden confirms, running a few of his fingers down my arm. Plus, we're trained to take in, process, and memorize a lot of information quickly. My head lowers, watching his slow, cautious caresses. Why lavender? I should be pushing him away, getting him out of my personal space, but for some strange reason I'm not. His manly musk is becoming a little distracting. His blue eyes don't make it any easier either. My body is jacked, needing release from not getting any action for almost a month now. "I wanted to give you something different than the traditional bouquet," Aiden admits. "Plus, they remind me of you." "How so?" Aiden chuckles. "I knew you reminded me of someone, but I couldn't place it until I saw a little girl wearing a shirt the day before. That pixie. You know, the one from Peter Pan's story?" "You mean fairy?" I check. "As in Tinkerbell?" "The one with the blonde hair whose bangs go across her face like yours." His fingers push back some strands of hair away from my face. "Yeah," he answers. "But she was a pixie, wasn't she?" I giggle. "She was a fairy who used pixie dust." "Huh," Aiden sighs. "Well, at least I was right. Plus, you two have similar eyes." His index finger tugs my glasses down just enough for our eyes to meet. "I hate to break it to you, but Tinkerbell was never associated with lavender," I state. "Lavender is different. Tinkerbell is different. You're different," he comments. "I like different." "Like as in," I peruse. Aiden's smile returns and tucks to the right. "A cartoon character turns you on," I tease, hoping to deflect where this conversation is going. "You turn me on," he states, in a low voice, taking half a step closer. I watch his eyes, not sure if this is the real Aiden or the fake Aiden standing before me. Perhaps there's a little of both. "What did you want to talk about today?" I say, redirecting the uncomfortableness that stirs inside me. "Nothing in particular," Aiden returns. "I figured this would be a good day for you to get to know Paul and me more." "Really?" "Yeah," he replies nervously. "Figured we could have a few beers, have some lunch, and see what happens from there." "See what happens from where?" I check. "Us," Aiden admits. "The next steps." I nod but don't say anything, not wanting my voice to possibly crack. I sidestep to the left after he presses his body closer to mine where our chests meet. A soft chuckle from Aiden sends shivers down my spine, causing me to stop momentarily. He follows me, staying close where he keeps me within reach. My attention is drawn to a few cars driving by on the road, nervous for people to see me with him despite knowing this has to happen. "Hey," he calls sweetly, tugging the edges of my shirt along my hip. I turn to face him and find myself drawn to him, those eyes and that smile. "Hey," I look down at his hand as he guides me toward him. He carefully takes my hand, lacing his fingers between mine. I tug away, but he refuses to let me go. Stepping backward, Aiden leads me toward the steps and then turns to climb them once he's only a few feet away. I'm able to break our physical connection before Paul sees us. A few minutes later, Paul, Aiden, and I are in the kitchen having lunch while the dogs rest at my feet. The guys have a beer, but I refrain since I need to keep my head intact for several reasons, including figuring out how I can use them for my own needs. As time passes, we play some card games, mostly poker, as music plays low in the background from the radio. I know how to play the game, but I was never really big on the whole betting side of it. I found myself playing with some of Antonio's henchmen to help pass the time on occasion, while also learning how to read people and catch them when they're lying. Aiden and Paul crack jokes at each other on occasion when they aren't trying to get me to talk, and from their interaction, I surmise that they've known each other for a while. Their comments and statements don't sound forced and actually sound genuine. Around 4 in the evening, Paul excuses himself and heads to the range, leaving Aiden and me alone with the dogs. We're currently in the kitchen, both standing as we chat, kind of, after saying goodbye to Paul. Aiden's resting his back against the fridge as I have myself propped up against one of the counters. With a look in his eye, Aiden pushes off from where he is and nonchalantly struts toward me. I can't help but watch the muscles his arms and shoulders flex as he walks, which distract me long enough for him to stop a few inches away. His right hand reaches up and inches my glasses down a little so he can see my eyes. Then he suddenly removes them and gently places them on the counter to my right. "We need to start moving forward," he states in a deep, low tone. I raise an eyebrow in question. "The fake Aiden and Laurie need to go on another date. Actually, more than one," he continues. "And everyone who knows you needs to see us together, more than just on a date." "What if I object?" I oppose. A sexy smirk dances across his lips as his fingers graze the skin of my arm. "You won't." "Someone's cocky," I goad. We need to be seen doing certain things, too," he adds. "What things?" I ask, despite knowing the answer. "I'd rather show you than tell you," he admits, leaning closer. "Why?" I inquire, wanting to delay the inevitable. "Because," he begins, brushing a few strands of my hair off my face. "We need to be comfortable enough doing these things." His hand lowers, dragging lightly along my arm, and his fingers intertwine with the bottom of my shirt. I clear my throat, feeling more and more uncomfortable with what's happening. Right as I think he's going to kiss me, Aiden lifts his mouth and kisses my forehead. Then he slowly wraps his arms around my waist, pulling me into him. My heart seizes in my chest for several moments as my brain and body contend with each other over the fact that we're touching as intimately as we are. It takes all the willpower I have to prevent my fight-or-flight responses from engaging. My palms rest carefully on his arms as his tighten slightly around me. What feels like a minute later, Aiden loosens his grip and my head lifts, searching for his eyes. The next thing I know, my lips are hungry for more as he peels his mouth away from mine after a soft, gentle kiss. My mouth parts for a breath and his tongue slowly glides across the rim of my bottom lip. When his tongue reaches in, searching for mine, I oddly find my body complying with the need to return the gesture. He presses his body closer and I can feel his erection. He can't be faking his arousal, his desire. The sound of my phone ringing pulls me from the embrace and I immediately push him away, giving myself some room to compose myself as I walk the few steps over to where my purse sits and take out my phone. "Hey," I greet. "Hey," Trudy replies. "You okay?" "Fine," I retort. "What's up?" "We've got an issue," she declares. "What?" I return. Aiden moves closer, but stays about a foot away. "There was a mini fire in the kitchen," Trudy states calmly. "What kind of mini fire?" I inspect. "Nothing where there's that much damage," she shares. "But the second stove is gone, and part of the wall is burnt." "Anyone hurt?" I ask. "No," Trudy assures. "Good," I answer. "I'll be right over."
This is the end of this chapter. Thank you for listening. I hope you're enjoying the story so far. To read the full, unabridged version, you can find a link in the description below. To find out about new releases before the general public, be sure to subscribe to my newsletter. You'll find a link in the description as well. Also, to be notified when the next chapter is published, make sure you subscribe to my channel.